So as many of you know, ACDC's first album was not High Voltage, but it was in fact High Voltage. And this right here is the album that we are going to focus on for today's review. Released in 1975, this album is one of two albums AC/DC released that year, and it comes after a giant shakeup of the band members. Dave Evans was given the boot in 1974, and they chose their chauffeur, of all people, Ronald Belford Scott, to replace him. And in this album, they record such classics as Baby Please Don't Go, Show Business, and of course, Stick Around, Love Song, She's Got Balls, and only 2 songs off this album would actually make it onto the international release of High Voltage. Which is kind of weird because you would think that they would call this album TNT, considering the fact that the bulk of the album is from their next release, TNT. But that, of course, brings us to a little mini-series that I would like to introduce into these reviews called The Release Spread, where I go through how many albums you would have to get just to get the 8 tracks on the Australian release of High Voltage. So to get started, 2 of the songs on High Voltage, Little Lover and She's Got Balls, are on this album right here. So you would need to get High Voltage for those 2. Then you would need to get Jailbreak, 74 Jailbreak, to get the bulk of the album, which is You Ain't Got a Hold on Me, Show Business, Baby Please Don't Go, and of course Soul Stripper, a song that the band had actually recorded and performed with Dave Evans, albeit in a live setting, in a concert. Then, oh, look at this bad boy right here, you would have to get, for the songs Stick Around and Love Song, AC/DC's Backtracks, because the songs were never released in a studio setting in album form. So the only way you're going to get them, in an official release anyways, I have them burned to CDs from before this box set came out, the only way you're going to get them is by buying the box set. And normally it goes from anywhere from $50 to $100, maybe $120. When it first came out in 2009, it was $200, and I kind of rolled my eyes and said, fuck that. But when it comes to the release spread, there are 3 different albums that you'd have to get. Right here, 2 albums, and of course the Backtracks box set. So that is the release spread for this album right here. 8 songs, 3 different albums. Well, 2 albums and 1 box set, I should say. So is it worth it to get these songs in this order right here? And why am I holding up a burn CD when I pride myself on having every single AC/DC release? Well, to put it simply, as far as I know, this album right here, as well as the Australian edition of Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, was only ever released on vinyl. The only CD version of any Australian albums for AC/DC I could find was TNT, and I would show it off right now, but it's in my car. So the Australian edition of High Voltage gets a lot of flack for essentially being the band's foothold. It's them in their experimental stage, where they take a bunch of different genres of rock and roll, combine them together, put them on an album, and see what works for them. Basically with one song representing a different genre in classic rock and hard rock and roll. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be a problem, except for the fact that when you compare and contrast this album with what AC/DC would do just even a few months later on TNT, where they would focus and fine-tune their formula, tweak it, and do what they do best, these songs definitely fall flat. Later on in this playlist, I review 74 Jailbreak, and I don't want to give away too much of my opinions on that album, but the songs from High Voltage were definitely the weakest, especially You Ain't Got a Hold on Me and Soul Stripper, which I think represent a different formula for AC/DC, a different sort of genre, twist on the genre, and not necessarily in a good way. They could have been a lot better if they would have fine-tuned and tweaked the songs to fit more of a bluesy hard rock genre like AC/DC do best. In my opinion, this is one of AC/DC's weakest albums, and it's really only for the diehard fans, just because of the fact that, like I said before, you can only find it on vinyl, and it's not really worth burning a CD just to see how this album sounded. You can just organize it on your playlist if you have Spotify or anything like that, or YouTube even, and see how it sounded. But these songs together, these 8 songs together, the only real highlights are, I would say, Stick Around and Baby Please Don't Go, and of course Show Business is a pretty decent song, but the rest of them are just filler. I mean, to be honest with you, I never really liked the songs You Ain't Got a Hold on Me and Soul Stripper anyways, and Little Lover, I think, is one of the worst songs AC/DC has ever really released. And don't get me started on Love Song. Love Song is one of those songs that is a experimental song in nature by AC/DC, and I guess Bon Scott maybe wrote it for one of his ex-girlfriends or something. I really don't know. I didn't really look into it, but I don't really like this song at all, because even though Bon Scott has an amazing voice and an amazing range and really knows how to belt it on songs like Highway to Hell, Rock and Roll Damnation, and of course Let There Be Rock, a song like this definitely doesn't fit his style, and it just sounds very repetitive and monotonous, so I really just don't like it. It's not a good song for AC/DC, but aside from that, the songs together on this album, never mind the fact that you have to get 3 different releases internationally just to get these songs, they just fall flat. I mean, there's not really much to say, but as far as AC/DC's debut album goes, I would definitely stick with TNT, their next album, which was released a couple of months after this one, where they fine-tuned their formula and focused more on the heavier aspects of what they do, and just had a better formula in general. So as far as this album goes, God, what do I want to rate it? I'll probably rate it like a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5 out of 10, just because of the fact that it is AC/DC's first foothold into the rock and roll universe, and they had a lot of different lineup changes with this album. A man by the name of Rob Bailey, a man who we would never see or hear from again, play most of the bass on this album, as well as George Young on some of the tracks from time to time, and we would actually see 2 drummers on this album, Peter Clack, as well as the Sessions drummer Tony Curetti, which we would see on a few songs on TNT before Phil Rudd would permanently take his place. So as far as how sporadic this album goes, you can definitely see it in the various lineup changes that have occurred during this period in time for AC/DC. So, final verdict, like I said, 7.5 out of 10. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.